Okay, we're back on Smith versus Brentley. I did get actually multiple copies.
Sorry.
It's all right. I had trouble opening it, but I now have it open, and I'm going to take just a moment to read it. I'm having trouble getting the document to scroll. I'm sure it's a internet problem. I'm going to try connecting with a different internet service to see if I can get a little better speed here. Yeah, it's not letting me do it. I was unable to open it on the computer that I'm using to do the Zoom hearing. So I have another computer that allows me to log into the computer I have in my office at the courthouse. And I was able to download the document, but it's not responding now, so I can't scroll it. I'm going to try again to see if I can open it on this computer, which seems to be operating a little bit faster than the other one. Please bear with me. Well, I've got one more option. I can pull it up on my iPad. I'm going to try that. So excuse me a moment while I go get that. Okay, I wish I'd thought of that a little earlier. That is at least working. So give me a moment to read it. All right, I've had a chance to read it. It shows that indeed a grant application has been submitted to Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School for the current, well, hold on. Yeah, it's for the current school year. And I also have directly from Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School, summary of tuition and fees due for Sydney and Kendall, showing a total balance currently due of almost $21,000, which includes, oh, and then it shows payments, I'm sorry. That's the total fees in tuition charged. Then it shows
it's not a normal, yeah, it's not a normal sheet, but what she's showing is at the bottom what was due at the time on 10/12/2020. The top numbers, yeah.
I see that. So the balance due for last year
this was the spreadsheet that we couldn't get over, and you asked me to put it up to the camera and you couldn't see it. So I thought I would send you that because you had asked for that at the time.
All right, so tuition balance due as of October 12th of the current year is $8,730, and then a transportation fee of $2,310. So total balance due of $11,040. And yes, it does show how much they're going to be charged over the course of the year. But then it shows how much is currently due, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. And yes, it doesn't show any balance from last year. I was misreading it. Okay.
That's separate from the other one.
Yeah. I don't understand that. What's separate from what?
That was separate because the other thing had to deal with the third issue, whether I had applied for the financial assistance or not.
Right,
and
I got that information with your communication. It shows indeed that an application was submitted for the 2021 school year.
Yes.
May I speak?
That's what I'd ask you to submit. Okay,
May I?
yes,
Your
yes,
Honor,
Doctor. Yes, Dr. Britley, you can speak now.
that's not what I read on the documents. I'm not sure if we're reading the exact same thing. What I have is a email that was from fax to his wife. And that email suggested that the application for the 2021 school year was not submitted because it was placed to the wrong school. And then I secondly see that there was an application that was submitted where he clicked the box for this current school, and that I'm assuming, and Kern can correct us whether or not this is something that he just submitted, because it says it's still allowing for applications to be submitted. This does not read that the application was submitted prior to the school year.
Okay, look, if you.
It doesn't much matter to me whether it was submitted prior to the school year. Issue is, was it submitted? And this verifies to me that at least as of now, it has been submitted.
So we
And Your
should
Honor-
wait on a determination. So we should wait on a determination. That's what I'm waiting for, the determination regarding the application.
Your Honor,
Go ahead.
you know, on that email, what it's saying is first of all, you can't submit there's a deadline. If you don't get it in before the school year starts, you cannot go in and apply anymore. It will not allow you to do so. So that was submitted before the school year, or wouldn't even have one in. The fact that it is in, and if you read this, it says, and the app accidentally chose the incorrect school. It was no fault of my own. I didn't choose the wrong school. Their internal application chose the wrong school. So when I applied to Bishop McGinnis, somewhere in their application, it sent mine off to somewhere else. I've been on since, our last meeting every day we've been trying to figure out where this thing was, and they finally found it. I didn't get this until yesterday. It went to my wife's address because that's the one on file with fax. So that's why it went to her. She then forwarded this to me. This was for the 2021 term. I had submitted it before the school year, as I testified before, and I had to find out, based on what you said, where this application was, and that's what we did. And like I said, it went all the way to the deadline yesterday. She found it, and it was their app that accidentally chose the incorrect school, and this application was sent to the wrong location. That's what this is stating.
Do you have any information from the school as to when they're likely to act on this application?
I have not yet, because I haven't had a chance to get in touch with anybody, because I come to work at 6 a.m. And so when I tried to call today, I was able to leave a message, but I haven't been able to talk to anybody. And I'm hoping they will. And I would think they would, because it wasn't a fault of my own. I'm thinking it's because it was a fault of the school. But again, I did everything I could. And I want you to be clear. I want to remind everybody, this all started when we applied. Nobody asked, me to apply. I applied when Sydney was a freshman, was unable to do so last year, and then applied for this one again this year. And I want you to also know, like I told you when we were in the last hearing, that the date was coming to open for next year. I've already applied, and that's been complete, that application for next year. I'm doing everything I can. I have nothing to lose by Lakeisha not paying more. I would think I would have something to gain. So I will apply. And so as far as Sydney's concerned, she's now covered all 4 years, as I just explained, and then we'll have one more year following will be Kendall, and that I will do. No longer wait until June, July. I'll be applying in November, December as the application comes open, nowhere near the deadline.
All right.
So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what more I can do. I'm doing everything I can for this end.
I'm appreciative of that. My only question is, and obviously Dr. Britley's question is, how much are they going to get, and when are we going to know the answer to that question?
I love that.
You're telling me you don't know.
Not at this point. And I'll like I say, I will continue to inquire. And that's of course up to them. I don't know.
All right. So I want to switch gears for a moment. I understand now the tuition issue. It's like it's in process. Other issue is the Dr. Brindley's failure to pay the lump sum that was ordered concerning the release of her passport. And I know one of her objections was, well, wait a minute, Mr. Smith was supposed to apply for financial aid. His failure to do that has put me in a worse box. I'm satisfied, at least for now, that process is in motion, but we just don't have an answer to it. What I want to address now is the issue of non-payment of that additional amount towards the arrearage. I understand, I remember from the last hearing that Dr. Brindley is asking for some relief because COVID has done to her practice. Very specific information about that. I've got time this morning. I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand, please.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, you paused and there was a glitch there. So you were just asking me to swear in?
Yes, I want to take some testimony. So raise your right hand, please.
Yes, my right hand is up.
You do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, Dr. Brindley, I want you to be real specific here as to what all has happened in the past year. My understanding is you have a private surgical practice with privileges at one or more institution?
Yes.
Okay, and do you have a surgical specialty?
General surgery.
Okay. At what facilities do you perform surgery?
Detroit Medical Center and St. John Providence Health System.
Okay. I know for a period of time, actually from personal experience, because I had to delay hip replacement surgery, that elective procedures were canceled in virtually every hospital in Michigan. Was that the case with your practice?
Yes, sir.
So for what period were you prohibited from doing elective procedures?
From March until the first part of April, I'm sorry, the end of April, first part of May we came back to elective in June, where you can have people come back to the hospital to have procedures done. So
Okay.
from March to June, we were restricted on only emergency care.
Okay.
Then the state opened the hospital back up.
So 3 full months that you could not do elective procedures.
Yes, sir.
How much of your practice is emergency procedures?
Less than 5%.
And how is it that an emergency surgery would get scheduled for you? Are you on call at either of these institutions?
I'm on call for my practice in the emergency room. So if someone referred a patient to me in the emergency room, then I would be consulted to do the surgery for the patient.
Okay. once the elective procedure restriction was lifted, were you able to go back to your normal schedule?
No, because the patients weren't coming out. We didn't have the volume of patients because patients weren't feeling comfortable coming to the hospital.
So in your experience, some of your patients were delaying elective surgeries out of fear for even being in a hospital under these COVID times.
That's correct. And the primary care doctors were not seeing patients in the office, so they weren't referring anyone to me.
Have you attempted any kind of a financial analysis as to how much income your practice lost as a result of this delay?
Yeah, my practice have lost over 50% of its caseload, and that's now. And it was to 80% when we had the restriction.
So right now you are currently operating at 50% of what you were doing in pre-COVID times?
That's correct.
Mr. Smith, are there any other questions you would like me to ask Dr. Brinley?
Um, no, Your Honor. No, Your Honor.
So Dr. Brinley, I do know that the reason that you needed your passport was in connection with uh, uh, your employment, and particularly, I don't remember the details, but this allowed you to travel to something to do with a teaching job?
Yes, in Canada for the university medical school. We do lectures and sponsor the education of the residents and medical students.
All right. So again, pre-COVID, what did that actually mean for you in terms of the amount of time that you would invest in it?
No, that was just a weekly extra work that we get monies for being part of the educational team at the hospital. So if you're part of the staff that does the education with the residents and the medical student, or the residents and the medical students, you get some compensation. But in order to do that, you have to be able to go to the lecture series over in Canada.
All right, so you're not actually a lecturer.
No, I am. I am.
Oh, you
I help
are a
with the
lecturer.
education.
All right,
Yes.
that's what I was trying to get at. Tell me what that entails.
No, that entails there's a subject matter like gallbladder disease, and then it's a discussion with the medical students and residents. So I will host, or they'll pick a topic for me, and then I'll host a lecture or in a conversation with the residents regarding the clinical care and how you approach a certain disease process.
How much time do you devote to that?
Well, with preparation, and then the time that you are there is an hour-long session.
And roughly what additional income do you earn as a result of being part of this lecture series?
That gives me $1,200 extra a month.
And is this something that continued through COVID?
Yes.
So you not having your passport would deprive you of $1,200 a month in income.
That's correct.
All right, thank you.
The other thing I just want to mention that I know I hadn't paid the complete amount, but I did pay $1,200 toward it. So I don't know. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that I did pay something toward it. And that was $1,200 that I did pay toward it.
All right. With that understanding, Mr. Smith, I want to ask you, what exactly is it that you're asking me to do? Are you asking me to revoke her passport?
I would, I have a lot of difficulty with her numbers. I work on the COVID task force here, and I worked with the state, and now I'm working with the VA as a COVID task force member. And I just left the hospital administration, actually specifically surgical administration, to make sure my numbers look correct. But Lakeisha's numbers are much higher than anywhere national, even including the city of New York and places like that. They also have gone a lot further. From March to June, no one went into June. What they did was they changed and had people start getting COVID testing. And most places want 6 or 8 weeks. The furthest we were able to find that went out further than that went somewhere around 10 to 12 weeks. No one went 4 months without having elective procedures. The hospitals couldn't survive on that. And some things are elective, but when you start talking about gallbladders and things of that sort, when you wait a long time, they become emergencies. So they do that, and that's what general surgeons do. So I think her numbers, just as her financial documents were a little off previously, when you and the referee from the other court said that she had kind of hyper expenses, it's kind of the same thing here. So I have a lot of problem with Lakeisha's numbers. When she tells us $1,200 to go over to Canada, that's great. But it really becomes kind of baseless when you're so far behind. When she says, hey, I've just applied $1,200 to it, well, you've applied $1,200, but in the end, on a date certain that you determined, Your Honor, she's supposed to pay a quarter of it. And she knew this. Those girls have to eat every night. I had time off work. I still had to come up with the money. So, it just gets old. We've been dealing with this now for over 8 years, and Lakeisha's been behind forever. I don't want bad things to happen to anybody, but I expect that you're supposed to handle what you're supposed to do. I think less than $10,000 to Lakeisha shouldn't be a big deal. She's spent more than that on weekends at hotels down at the Breakers. She's been, she's done a lot of things and put me in a bad spot. I don't I've been over 70 hearings dealing with Lakeisha and these things from the time we started with back in 2011. I'm just trying to finish everything off. I just want to get finished. I don't want any more problems either. But it's time to stand up and do what you're supposed to do. If not, we're going to be doing this when the girls are out of high school. It's time. It's time. Sydney is 16 years old, and we've been dealing with this since she was 7 or 8 years old. It doesn't make any sense. So, yeah, I understand it's a struggle. I've been struggling, but I don't come to the court saying I'm struggling. Don't make me take care of my daughters. You still have to take care of them. These are expenses that I have to take on myself. And so in essence, I'm now giving a loan to a surgeon. And so that doesn't make any sense. Pay the bill. Pay the bill. Lakeisha, in the middle of all of this, when she filed for bankruptcy, was way in arrears. Went and bought an office building in Detroit, cash. She already had an office. She paid cash for that building, over $90,000. No consideration for her arrears, for me, for the girls. These are things you're supposed to pay. She asked for a break on this. Yeah, I'll give you a break. The first break came before COVID even was on the map. This was back in March. She was supposed to pay over $8,000. She came in nipping like what, $1,700 off? I mean, why? But we did. We said, okay, we'll allow for it. Pay the $7,000. And then she made the arrangements for this so that she could get it. I was amenable to that. But again, here we go again. And this has been going on for far too long. It's just so long. It gets very, very frustrating. Here's Lakeisha again saying that she can't do. And I have to do. Those girls have to eat. And they're older now. They have very much higher expenses. She's been paying a reduced child support payment. She's been paying at her last payer. She's been on pay or stay twice. She's paying at her last pay or stay level of $300 a week, which doesn't even match what she was supposed to be paying every month. She hasn't been doing anything towards paying towards arrears. Her arrears has been going up. So it's just very frustrating. It's very hard for me to say, yes, let's just forgive again. And then I find out she's going to be down at the breakers or going on some vacation or going overseas on vacation again. That's just not fair. You're not supposed to do those sorts of things.
So, Mr. Smith, how much are you actually receiving per month in child support?
12. She pays $300 a week, and it averages about a little bit more than $1,200 a month. And she's been on that for now almost 2 years. And when she came out of, she asked, I never came and asked for any change in the child support. She came and asked for that. And when it changed, you all looked at her financials, looked at mine. She was making over $550,000 a year. She never upped it. She never said, let me start paying towards my arrearage.
Your Honor, my income may I speak, please, Your Honor?
Hold on, I'll give you a chance.
And so what is her plan? I mean, Sydney's now in her junior year. She's about to go in the second semester. So we're really looking at another year and a half for Sydney. What is her plan for fixing this? Are we going to be back at this again in 18 months, trying to get the money that's due for Sydney? I mean, it just really gets old, and it's time. You got to pay. That's just the way it is. And she vowed from the beginning, I'm not going to pay. I remember Janet Hamilton walking in, and every hearing we had, probably 30, 40 hearings, where she said, Lakeisha has always said from day one, and it's true, I don't want to pay. And she continues to not pay. And so now we're in 2020, facing 2021. The girls are coming up on graduation. When is she going to pay? When is she going to finally step up and pay? And no matter what. And that's what I have to do. That's what you have to do. And everyone has to do. But the surgeon does not want to pay and won't pay. So this is where I stand. So it's very difficult for me to say, no, let's put this off for another 6 or 8 months or whatever. But when? You've already got I didn't come with the pay or stay level. I didn't even come back to the court and say, oh, make her pay more. Y'all said she's supposed to pay more. I left it as is. But at some point, we got to start taking care of this. And I think the time has come, and I think the time is now. And that's it, Your Honor. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, go ahead, Dr. Brentley.
Your Honor, first, I want to say that this court has, from the beginning, has imputed income to me that I didn't have. And that is from the beginning of where this child support started, where these arrears started. I started off behind because they assumed, because this idea, and Kern keeps wanting to talk about my career choice. My career choice is not aligned with a certain income. And somehow there's this idea that a title of general surgeon lends to a certain income. There are general surgeons to date who have no jobs right now, who have been laid off, who are sitting on unemployment. The COVID world has affected the Michigan and the North much more different than the South. So trying to relate what's going on in North Carolina to what's going on in Michigan, you understand our governor has had a much more draconian approach to how we were dealing with the COVID in the hospital systems, in the communities at large. Retailers, businesses, I don't have to go on and on about who's been impacted and how businesses have been lost. This idea of where this money comes from, he gives these inflated ideas of where this money comes from. My building, my purchase of my building, that was a land contract, and I leased a property so I could have an office space. So he didn't know where I was practicing out of, so he can't even speak to those things. So I'm asking for you not to give consideration to things that are not factual. I have I planned to make the payment in the date that I wanted to make the payment because again, the litigation that I had with an auto case was supposed to pay out by the time that that date arrived. The case has been delayed because of COVID. The case has not been settled. The money has not been dispersed for what they owe me. That would take care of this. I have told you emphatically, my goal is I wanted to never come back in front of court. It's not my goal to be in front of the court. I'm asking for some clemency because of a certain circumstances. If this did not happen under a pandemic in this country, in which we know people have halted, patients don't want to come in. There's an insecurity in health, insecurity in finances, people losing their insurance benefits. All this has an impact on how how doctors like myself, surgeon or no surgeon, are seeing patients. Hospital systems have taken a hit, been protected and covered by the government, given funding. I understand that, and I'm sure everyone in the country understands that as well. My payments that I make is because I don't want Sydney and Kendall are in need of nothing. I have made sure I have to pay. I'm paying, like you said, the education, I'm paying transportation, I'm paying for every bill for books, every bill for sports, every bill that these girls have current forwards to me. He has absolutely resigned to doing nothing out of his pocket for Sydney and Kendall. And I know he says he does, but my daughters have even suggested to me that he says to them, no, I don't have to buy anything for you because your mom's responsibility to do that. This is not fair. The onus can be on me because I will take care of Sydney and Kendall. And you know this. I've taken great care of these girls. They are in need of nothing. I'm asking for this clemency to keep my passport, to be able to keep this extra money because it keeps me paying my money for the reduction of my child support payment to $300 a week so that I don't have this issue of coming into court saying she's not paying. I am paying. I'm paying every single chance I get. I have a $3,600 lease payment that I pay for rent at this one office. I pay for my other building, taxes. I mean, I got like $100,000 in tax debt. I have bankruptcy that I'm still pending with, can't get credit on. I mean, there's so much debt and my liabilities that are so extreme right now that I'm stressed out. And I'm praying that I don't have a disease, that I don't get COVID, having to take care of being in the hospitals, having to take care of people, that I don't end up getting a disease and find myself not being able to work. So as he's talking about this idea of money, 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 I'm trying to keep my health. So I'm paying, Your Honor. I've been paying, and as soon as I get the monies to get this taken care of, I want this completely severed from my life. And it will be done before Sydney and Kendall graduate or before Kendall graduates from high school. It will be done. And that's my promise to the court. I will be done.
All right. I listened to both of you, tried to understand exactly what's going on. I'm not going to put Dr. Britley's passport in jeopardy. I understand why she wasn't able to make that payment. But I also troubled that that only $300 a week is being paid towards child support. That's not enough. So again, I'm not modifying the support calculation, but I'm increasing the weekly amount to $400. I realize this is a small drop bucket as far as what's owed. Break over what you should be paying. I'm going to issue an order to that effect. It will go out as soon as I'm back in the courthouse to do it.
Your Honor, I missed part of that. After you talked about the $400 increase to $400, I didn't hear anything more after that.
Basically, I was explaining my rationale.
Okay.
I will issue an order to that effect. You will be receiving it as soon as I can get back into the courthouse, which I expect to be on Monday.
Yes,
So,
sir.
That concludes our hearing. I've got another matter I've got to take care of.
Yes, sir.
We haven't addressed the completion of the school issue.
That is in process, Mr. Smith. As soon as you have an update as to what they're going to do for the school bill, I want you to share that with the court and with Dr. Brentley.
I'll send you an email, Your Honor. I'll send it to Dawn Sherwood's email.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we are back on Mag. I lost the name. Magsic, thank you. Are we able to make any headway, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor, we have an agreement we'd like to place on the record if we can get our clients back in.
I will let them in right now.
Thank you.
Okay, it looks like they're both here. Can each of you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Fleming.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you for that time. Mr. Fallahy and I were able to discuss this matter and, of course, the accompanying divorce action. And we have reached an agreement. And I would like to place those terms on the record and then get everyone's agreement. And Mr. Fallahy is going to prepare an order. So we would first agree that the petitioner's petition for a personal protection order would be dismissed. And in lieu thereof, in the divorce action, which is also assigned to you, we will agree to the following terms. We will have a mutual restraining order against physical harm, threats, harassment, with all the accompanying language. Mr. Fallahy is going to draft an order. And also we're going to have a mutual restraining order as to depletion of the marital assets against property transfer, secretion, selling, similar language. We're going to maintain the status quo as far as deposits of monies and marital bills being paid. In the divorce action, the plaintiff wife will have exclusive use of the residence at 10464 Hankard Road, Pleasant Lake, Michigan, 49272. And the defendant will have exclusive use of the residence he's occupying, and Mr. Fallahy can fill in that address. My understanding it's the defendant's grandmother's residence. Neither party shall enter the other's residence without express permission, and I guess we would envision that there would be text permission so that there would be verification should there ever be an issue. The final issue is there's a gun that's owned by the defendant husband. It's a shotgun. It will be returned by him to the residence. He will text the plaintiff when he's approaching the home, and they've done this before. When he picked it up, he'll text her, he'll leave it on the porch when she's there and available, and she will, after he leaves, immediately take the gun, return it to the secure gun safe in the marital residence there on Hinkard Road, and it will stay there until further order of the court. The parties will also cooperate to participate in co-parenting counseling. They'll work together to find a counselor that is covered by their insurance. And that's the extent of our agreement today. We will work together towards other issues relative to the divorce case. We're not scheduled for the friend of the court conference until January 20th. So that's what we have today.
Mr. Fallahy?
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, that is correct. I'm getting some feedback, Judge. I don't know if somebody else has YouTube on or what, but I'm getting a lot of bounce back here. Okay, now it's gone. Yes, Judge, the settlement placed on the record by Ms. Fleming is my understanding as well. I guess I would prefer to just make sure we ask our clients to make sure everybody's on the same page as well.
Go ahead. May question your client?
Thank you, Your Honor. Kelly, you heard the terms that I just stated on the record. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you understand those provisions?
Correct.
You understand part of the agreement is that you are dismissing the petition for the personal protection order.
Correct.
And so with that being dismissed, the agreement that we are going to enter into in the divorce action, it can only be enforced through coming back to Judge LaFlamme as your divorce judge. There are no criminal penalties for any violations. You understand that?
Yes.
And you wish to be bound by those terms
Yes.
rather than go forward with the hearing today.
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And Mr. Fowley?
Thank you, Your Honor. Joe, can you hear me okay?
Yes,
All right, and you heard the settlement placed on the record by Ms. Fleming, correct?
yes, that's correct.
Do you have any questions about it?
No, sir.
And you and I were able to talk on the phone about those same terms, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and do you think that proceeding this way today is in your best interest and you're willing to give me permission to sign an order that accurately describes these provisions once we get one draft? Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Thank you. I don't have any further questions, Your Honor. One logistical issue, though, is that I'm going to draft this order and use the divorce case number. I don't know if the court needs to, there's probably an SCAO order that would be in the court file on the PPO case to dismiss that, or do you need us to do that, Judge?
I'll take care of that.
I
Okay.
can do that, Your Honor, Judge. I can do that. I've got a note to do it.
Okay,
If there was anybody there.
that's
Yeah, I'm
Shannon,
here.
Hello, thank you.
Hi, guys.
also working from home.
Okay,
All right. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you,
Thanks, I'll
everyone.
look
Have a
for the
good
order.
day.
thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.